Hello, what is up YouTube? This is Champion Marks here for another Pokemon Black and White narrated Wi-Fi battle. I said earlier, or like maybe a couple weeks ago, I don't remember, that I would record the final battle of my 100 subscribers tournament, and I did, and this is the result, and they are really epic. So, let's get started. This battle in the finals, was me versus Braviary for the win. God, it was awesome. But anyway, so he leads off with Starmie because I'm obviously running a Sandstorm team I've been basically saving this team to unveil specifically for this battle. So yeah, I think it did pretty damn well. Anyway, Hippowdon leads off, gets up the Sandstorm, which is basically what this team is all about. His Starmie is really threatening right here because yeah, Stab Surf is kind of gonna wreck Hippo. So I'm going to switch out my Cradily because Cradily does carry the Storm Drain ability, which in this generation has the new mechanic of giving it immunity to water moves, which for a Sandstorm team is really awesome. My Cradily doesn't really have the ability to use the special attack boost, but the immunity is still nice. Now, I kind of missed out that he had the leftovers there, so I kind of thought he was choice because of him switching out. And here, he switches out, goes into his Netore. I kind of predicted that because I knew his Netore could completely wall my Fearothorn, no, my Cradily, but whatever. And I switch into my Clefable. He sees that I have the Flame Orb, and of course he knows I'm going to go for a trick, because most Clefables do trick their items. And mine just happens to have a Flame Orb. That would have crippled if he had stayed in, but of course he predicts the obvious play, goes into his Arcanine to take it, because Arcanine is a fire type, so the Flame Orb really doesn't bother it. But I do get to steal his Choice Band, which is still pretty good, because getting to swap a Choice Band onto maybe one of his walls would be pretty nice. Plus now his Arcanine doesn't have the attack boost from the Choice Band, so yeah, it won't be able to wreck my Pokemon as hard. Now, of course, here I'm going to switch out, go to my Hippowdon, because really don't want to take a Flare Blitz slash close combat, because, yeah, that would hurt Clefable a lot. So, yeah, he goes for the Flare Blitz. It's going to do an okay chunk to my Hippo. It's nothing really that it can't handle, so, yeah, I'm just going to stay, and I believe I go for either the Stealth Rocks or Toxic here. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I do set up the Stealth Rock. And he's gonna switch out his Goldie because Arcanine is not doing shit to Hippo, so he is gonna switch out. Now, I go for the Stealth Rocks. Yes, I do go for the Stealth Rocks. As he switches into his Rotom Wash. Now, this thing kind of bothers me because it can get the Will-O-Wisp off on my Cradily, so switching Cradily in on this thing might not be the best idea, because Cradily really doesn't like being status, even if it is burned. But anyway. Now I'm going to switch out because he does threaten me with Will-O-Wisp or the obviously stabbed Hydro Pump. So I'm going to switch out my Clefable because my Clefable can wall this thing fairly well because it is special defense bulky and it isn't really bothered by Will-O-Wisp because it's already burned. And it has Magikarp, of course. And now his Rotom's just going to take the Sandstorm, and it gets the leftovers, which tells me it's not choice, but then again, something with Will-O-Wisp really shouldn't be choiced. Now, I'm going to predict that he's going to switch back out to his Arcanine, thinking I'll try and give his Rotom the Choice Band I stole from it. So I'm just going to go for the Seismic Toss to get the damage on his Arcanine, because after Stealth Rocks and Seismic Toss and Sandstorm, Arcanine's going to be pretty darn low, if not dead. But yeah, so Seismic Toss happens, and it does a really good chunk, leaves it at just under the amount that it'll, so yeah, it'll die to Stealth Rocks on the next switch in. Yeah, unfortunately he has that Starmie, which I was debating whether it had Rapid Spin or not, but yeah, I was pretty sure that it did have it, because, you know, it had leftovers. But here it just goes for the close combat, which is going to do hardly anything to Hippowdon, because Hippowdon is just such a beast, and he gets the defense drops, and he knows he's going to die to life to, wait, he doesn't have Life Orb? What, I'm an idiot. He knows he's going to die to Sandstorm pretty soon, so he's going to switch out and go on I don't know, something to take on my Hippowdon, or status it, or whatever. And I just, oh wait, I have no idea what I go for this turn. I think I go for Toxic or Earthquake. Or Slack Off, whichever. Oh yeah, I go for Slack Off because I knew Arcanine wasn't going to do anything, and he gets to switch into his Starmie, and I was just like, shit. But, yeah, I didn't notice this thing had the leftovers, so I thought it would slap another choice move in my face, but here I see it does have leftovers. I'm like, crap, this thing's probably gonna Rapid Spin and get rid of the Stealth Rocks, and with the amount of Pokemon that are Stealth Rock weak on his team, that is not favorable for me. But I just go into my Cradily thinking he might go for another Surf, but he does go for the Rapid Spin, which is not good for me. Now, I think I either go for the Toxic, predicting a switch to something that was not Natori, or I go for the switch back into Clefable, thinking his Natori would come back in and I could probably trick it. Let's just find out after all these stupid after-turn effects. But anyway. So yeah, he does switch out a Starmie, which is making me think that it doesn't have the Ice Beam, which is good to know, because that means Cradily can pretty much wall it to all hell. And he switches in his Natori again, because Natori is pretty much the perfect wall for Cradily. However, I do switch in my Moonite, the Clefable. Now, here, I make a really risky prediction. I'm thinking that because I've already gone for a Seismic Toss, predicting his switch into Arcanine before, he thinks he's going to go for, I'm going to go for another trick, predicting that, he thinks I'm going to go for another Seismic Toss, predicting the switch into Arcanine, but I do go for the trick, give his Natora a Choice Band, and even though this thing does have the Power Whip, so it can somewhat make use of it, that does completely cripple this thing to a certain degree, because it really can't wall anything without leftovers, or being able to swap moves. So here, I'll just switch back into my Hippowdon, because I kind of want to get my Stealth Rocks back up, and his, Natori. Why the fuck do I keep forgetting names? But anyway, here he switched to new Braviary, because, yeah, Braviary for the win has a Braviary. Surprise, surprise. Now, I don't really fear anything from this Braviary, because the best it can really hit me with is Brave Bird, and that's just going to rack up recoil on him. So I'm just going to reset my Stealth Rocks, because that's really the best thing I have to do. But in hindsight, I probably should have went for Toxic to try and get his switch into Rotom with the Toxic on it, because, yeah, Rotom's going to be a really big problem for this team, because I have nothing that really wants to stay in on this thing, or can safely switch in on it, or whatever. So yeah, I'm just going to switch out here. I believe I go into my Cradily or back into Clefable to try and do something. Oh yeah, I go into my Clefable, because I'm thinking this Rotom really can do nothing to my Clefable, so it's really the only thing I have to take it. And Stabbed Hydro Pump happens, which is going to do a lot, but, oh wait, no it doesn't, it does hardly anything. Yay! So I'm just going to stay in here with Clefable, because, yeah, this thing does have Cosmic Power, so I'm hoping I can set up all over this guy, but you'll see that that really doesn't go too well. But, oh wait, I'm thinking of something else, aren't I? He switches out, goes back into his Braviary, and I have no idea what I go for. I think I go for Cosmic Power, maybe Seismic Toss, I don't know. Oh, I go for a Seismic Toss, predicting I have no idea, maybe a switch out, but it does work because his Braviary takes a Seismic Toss, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage to it, and this thing is just going to come slowly die off as it keeps taking damage on Switch-Ins and Sandstorm, which is good because, you know, I kind of want to get rid of this thing, because it's probably Choice Scarf, so it can outspeed most of my Pokemon. Now, he's just going to switch back into his Starmie for whatever reason, I really don't know, but I believe I switch out back into my Hippo because I didn't want to take a Brave Bird / Superpower, so I guess that's why he switched in. He predicted my Hippo switch. But, yeah, really don't want to stay in here, because Hippo's not going to enjoy taking Surfs all day. Because, yes, Ground type and no special defense EVs. Ugh, man, I really need to start getting some, like, bringing some drinks with my narrations, because, but, whatever. I am going to switch out here because, you know, even though the Rapid Spin is obvious, I really don't want to take this possible Surf. So I just go back to my Cradily to, you know, effectively wall his Starmie. Now, yeah, he just does go for the Rapid Spin, because with his team being, like, having 3 Pokemon, I believe, that were Rock Weak on it, he really wants to keep those Stealth Rocks down for as long as possible, and so he can get safe switch-ins as much as he can. But I'm not sure what I go for here. I believe I just go for, like, Toxic or something, maybe. Or Rock Slide. Don't know why I'd go for Rock Slide, though, but I'm pretty sure I do go for a Toxic. As he switches out and goes into, I believe, his Braviary here. Yeah, he goes into his Braviary. And thankfully I do go for a Toxic, because that means even though this thing is not taking damage from Stealth Rocks at the moment, it's still going to be taking a buttload of recoil damage from, like, Sandstorm and Toxic and stuff. Which is good, because this thing is actually a really big threat to my team, because aside from Hippowdon and I believe Skarmory, this thing can pretty much kill everything I have. But anyway, I do believe here I just switched back out my Hippowdon. Probably would have been a better idea to switch in my Skarmory, maybe try and get some spikes up or roar or whatever, but I just go back into Hippo, because I want my Stealth Rocks up more than anything. Because I really am adamant about keeping my Stealth Rocks up this battle. But he just goes for the Brave Bird, I guess because he wanted to die to get the free switch in or something, but yeah. The Brave Bird recoil, plus the Sandstorm, and the Toxic is going to be more than enough to kill this guy. Which is good, because, yeah, that's his first Pokemon down, I believe. And what does he switch into anyway? I forget. I think he switches into his Starmie to threaten me out with Surf or something. But yeah. No, wait, he goes into his Rotom, which is not good, because again, I really don't want to stay in and take a Hydro Pump, so I switch out into my Clefable, because I am really keen about switching. But, you know, I believe he gets a critical hit with his Hydro Pump here, which sucks for me, because that means Clefable is not going to be as useful as I'd hoped it would be. And he does get the critical hit here, which does suck a major ball sacks, because, yeah, Clefable can't really take hits if it's under half HP, especially if they're stabbed really powerful hits. But I'm thinking, okay, if he, like, gets minimum damage or something, or randomly goes for Thunderbolt, I'll be able to get off the Soft Boil and hopefully live, but he just does go for that next Hydro Pump, thinking it would maybe kill, but it doesn't, leaves me with, like, 16 HP, and I'm like, ha 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 ha, Soft Boil. Now, I do make a misplay here. I was thinking that with half HP, I would be able to take a Hydro Pump, then get off a Cosmic Power, but unfortunately it doesn't go down like that. But anyway, jeez. I just go for, oh man, there's so many after turn effects, it's amazing. It's just like, blah. But anyway, he goes for another Hydro Pump, because it's the most powerful move to use on Clefable. It won't be able to do a whole lot, except he gets another freaking critical hit. And I was so pissed right at this, because I was planning on Cosmic Power setting up all over his face and then completely destroying him. But, that might not have worked, but it would have been a lot different game if I had been able to successfully get off, like, 2 or 3 Cosmic Powers. And maybe it's, like, actually done something. But it doesn't go down like that, and even with my +1 in special defense, the Thunderbolt that this Rotom obviously carries is going to, unfortunately, kill me off, which, is sad face. Because Clefable was really all I had to take this Rotom down, which is, yeah, means that it can basically, like, destroy the rest of my team if I don't somehow figure out a way to handle it. But anyway, I believe I go into my Cradily here, because the only real option I have for getting rid of this thing is to get it with a poison on it, and Hippowdon can't really take the Surf or Hydro Pump too well, so Cradily is really the only option I have for getting status on it. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp, and Burn is going to be a bother for Cradily, because it really likes having its HP up, not down, so yeah. But thankfully it's Burn, so the damage doesn't add up after every turn, so yeah, Cradily can still somewhat wall. But yeah, now that that Toxic is on his Rotom, it's going to be a lot easier to take down, because, yeah, it's going to be taking residual damage that's going to increase every freaking turn, which is nice, because that means I may still have a chance to get rid of it. But Here, I do believe he switched out into, I have no idea, maybe it's Arcanine. I don't really remember. This battle was a little while ago, and it is really long. No, he goes out into his Ferrothorn, because even though it is choice banded, it's still a pretty effective wall in my Cradily. And I switch out and go into, I go into my Alakazam. Yeah, I believe I predicted his switch into Natore, and here I go for the Hidden Power Fire. It's Life Orb, max special attack with a timid nature. I'm thinking it's more than enough to kill, because it is super effective Hidden Power Fire, but it freaking lives! What the heck? Natore is just stupidly bulky. Why is it able to take an X4 super effective Hidden Power Fire with Life Orb? Oh my god, I hate this thing. Love using it, but I hate seeing it. But whatever. I just go to my dildo, what the fuck is this thing's name? Excadrill, yes, Excadrill, that's what it's called. And I'm thinking here, this is a free opportunity to set up a Sword Dance, because even though he is choice banded, I was thinking I could take the Power Whip nicely, because, you know, Steel type, it has half decent defenses, right? Right? So he goes for the Power Whip. That is going to take a huge chunk out of my Excadrill. I was hoping I could take that way better than I did, but I didn't. But anyway, I still am able to get off the Earthquake, which is going to take out his Ferrothorn, which is nice because now it's dead, and I don't have to see its face anymore. Now he's going to switch into his Rotom Wash. Now, I'm really hoping this his return will somehow one-hit KO it, but it doesn't. It just, it does over half, but he misses a Hydro Pump, I so deserve that for those crits that he got on my Clefable. And now I actually have a chance to win this match, because I can just go for another return to hopefully get rid of his Rotom. But, yeah, judging on the last damage and the Toxic, that's going to be pretty easy. Now, I just go for the next return. Does take out his Rotom, which is good, because that thing was basically the only problem left on his team. Or, the only problem that I thought. The most apparent problem, anyway. Now, here, goes into his Arcanine. Not really worried about Arcanine, because at the HP it had, I was almost certain that Sandstorm would kill it in one more hit. And I was hoping that maybe somehow I could live through the Extreme Speed. I mean, it is resisted, but I have no defense investment, so at that low amount of HP and Arcanine just having really boss attack, that Extreme Speed does take me out. And then the Sandstorm takes him out, which thankfully, but it lives with the most freaking small amount of HP ever. But I just switched my Hip out on, and I know that any hit this Arcanine tries and pulls off, I can just get a free Slack off and get all of the HP back. It does just go for the Extreme Speed. I guess it didn't want to go for Flare Blitz, or maybe he forgot that he wasn't choice banded anymore. I really don't know. But I just go for the Slack off, which is gonna bring my HP back up, and yeah, gonna be at pretty much near, oh wait, I'm gonna be at exactly full. And Arcanine dies to the Sandstorm, finally, because, yeah, need to get rid of Arcanine. Now, I do believe he switches into his Starmie again, guess to just threaten me out with the Surf again, like he's been doing pretty much all game. But here, he does make a switch and goes into his Salamence, which is like, oh shit, I completely forgot that you had this thing when I saw it at the preview. This thing is going to be a shit ton of trouble, because if it gets Dragon Dance up, it can probably sweep the rest of my team, and I only have 3 things left. But yeah, I go into Cradily, because I was thinking he would stay in with Starmie, but he's not that stupid to make the same attempt, like, 4 times in a row. And his Salamence is in here, and I'm just like, holy crap, this thing is going to be a lot of trouble, because if it gets Dragon Dance up, it will kill me. Though, I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't have Fire Blast, so that my Skarmory can take it on, maybe. But yeah, he just goes for the Dragon Dance, and I stay in to, I believe, get the Toxic on it. No, I go for Recover, thinking that he would go for the Dragon Dance and try to set up and stuff, because I need my HP if I want to be able to wall his Starmie, if I ever do get the chance, by killing his Salamence somehow. But yeah, he takes some Sandstorm damage, and basically the only real way that I'm going to be able to get rid of this Salamence is by stalling it out somehow. So yeah, this is basically where the battle got really tense, because I am in a really bad position with his Salamence having +1 and being able to pretty much destroy my whole team. But yeah, he goes for the Earthquakes, which doesn't affect my Skarmory, which is good, because, yeah, that means that Skarmory might live something. But here, he shows me as the Fire Blast. I'm like, shit, I am dead, because Skarmory was really the only attempt that I had to wall this thing, other than Hippo, and I don't think Hippo would like to take a Fire Blast either. But yeah, Skarmory goes down, yeah, didn't really get to do anything this match, but he does get a Life Orb hit off on the Talons. I didn't see that Life Orb, but that Life Orb is basically the reason that I don't lose this match. Because Life Orb, Sandstorm's going to be doing quite a bit, and I just go into my Hippowdon. Because, really, only attempt I have left at this is to stall it out, and if I'm going to do that, I will need Toxic on it. So he does switch out into Starmie to take the Toxic, I guess, or something. And yeah, Toxic happens, which is good because that means that Starmie will be taking some kind of residual damage, even though it still does have the natural cure and can switch out Immense and get rid of the Toxic. But now it won't be gaining leftovers recovery thanks to the Toxic taking away the leftovers that it would get back. And here I really don't want to make this prediction, but I kind of need to, because if he does stay in and surf me, I will lose. So I make the prediction that he will go for the surf, predicting my Hippowdon to stay in, switch into my Cradily, and he was just like, "Cause what the hell? The switch was so obvious. Why did you predict my surf?" I was just like, I really have no other option, because if I don't switch out and I get hit with a surf, I lose. But anyway, now he's going to switch out because his Starmie, like, near the end of the match, he told me that his Starmie did not have Ice Beam, so my Cradily does completely and totally wall it, because Surf is immunized thanks to Storm Drain, and Thunderbolt's not going to do shit because of the Sandstorm Special Defense boost, and Resist. So here, I'm going to make the prediction of his Salamence coming in, and hopefully get the Toxic off on it, and it won't miss, hopefully, because if it does, I am fucked. But yeah, he goes back into his Salamence, gets the pointless Intimidate, because I'm really not going to be staying in to try and Rock Slide it. But I do get the Toxic off, which is good, because now it's going to be taking 3 forms of recoil damage from Toxic, Sandstorm, and Life Orb, which is good, because that means I may be able to get rid of it. So, yeah, basically here's where the match basically boils down to what this Salamence has, because if it has Outrage, I'm probably going to die, but if it has Dragon Claw, Hippowdon can probably take a hit from it. So I switch out, go into my Hippowdon, because I'm thinking it can maybe take a +1 Dragon Claw with less than, without losing 50% of its HP, but yeah. He just goes for the Dragon Dance, because my switch was pretty obvious, because I don't want to stay in with Cradily. And I'm just basically like, okay, maybe Hippowdon can take a hit. Just maybe, because it is max defense, and he gets hit by Sandstorm and Toxic and shit. And now I think he has 1 or 2 turns left to live, with all of the after-turn effects. So, if Hippowdon can last the next 2 turns, I basically won. Goes for the Outrage, and when I saw that, I was like, holy crap, live the hit, Hippowdon. And it keeps going, and I live the hit, which is awesome, because that means Salamence is going to die to the next turn of after-turn effects. And because I have nothing to hit this thing with, because my moveset is Slack Off, Toxic, Earthquake, and Stealth Rock, I just decided to set up Rocks, because that's really all I can do for anything. And now he's just going to go for the next Outrage and die off. Then I'll switch in my Cradily to his Starmie, and because Starmie thankfully does not have the Ice Beam, I will be able to outstall him. So yeah, his Salamence just, has the Outrage, and that happens, and Numbface dies, which is sad, because I really like Numbface, because it likes to numb on your face. And his Blue Dragon goes down, and yeah, now I kind of understand why Smogon made Salamence Uber last generation, because it is really fucking powerful. So yeah, Starmie comes in, and I just go back in my Cradily, And here it's basically, if he has Ice Beam, I lose. If he doesn't, I win. And I asked him what the set was. It's Recover, Rapid Spin, Surf, and Thunderbolt. So I basically win this match because I'll be able to outstall him. And he knows this, so I believe on the, like, in one or more turns, he does run away, so yeah. Good game, Bravier for the win. It was hello fun. Long as shit, but it was amazing, and I am really glad that I had it. Here's to another 100 subs, and yeah. Comment, rate, sub, and later, guys.